My name is Natalie, and I never thought I'd be telling this story, let alone to strangers on the internet. But sometimes, things happen in life that are so surreal, so unexpected, that keeping them to yourself feels heavier than sharing. I'm 43, a single mom, and I live just outside of Denver, Colorado. I've worked hard to raise my son, Ryan, ever since his father walked out on us when Ryan was only 5. Back then, I thought my world had collapsed. But Ryan, even at such a young age, gave me the strength to keep going. He became my everything. Ryan is 20 now, a sophomore in college, and easily one of the kindest souls you'll ever meet. Tall, handsome, responsible, and mature beyond his years. He'd always been protective of me, especially when things got tough. We've always had a strong bond, one that made me proud but sometimes a little scared. Maybe because deep down, I knew it was different than what other mothers felt. It wasn't unhealthy or wrong, just intense. This past summer, Ryan came home for his break. I was thrilled. The house always felt cold without him, and his presence brought it back to life. Our morning coffee chats returned. We cooked together, laughed over silly inside jokes, and stayed up late watching reruns of our favorite crime series. It felt like old times, but at the same time it didn't. Ryan had changed. His voice was deeper, his confidence more grounded. He had the aura of a man now, not a boy. And I, embarrassingly enough, noticed. The realization hit me the night we were cleaning up after dinner. I reached to put a dish away, and he stood behind me, so close I could feel the warmth of him. He touched my back lightly, just a gentle nudge to move past, but it sent shivers through me. I brushed it off. But those little moments kept piling up. A hand on my shoulder that lingered a second too long. The way he looked at me sometimes when he thought I wasn't paying attention. He wasn't doing anything wrong, he was just being sweet, respectful, loving. But my reaction was the problem. I hated myself for feeling different around him. I tried blaming the loneliness. I hadn't dated anyone seriously in years, and the house had grown quiet in his absence. Maybe I was just overthinking things. Still, I found myself putting on a little lipstick in the evenings, wearing nicer clothes when we had dinner. I knew it was silly, but I craved his compliments, those innocent, casual remarks that made me feel seen. I didn't realize how much I missed that. Then came the night that changed everything. It was storming outside, one of those rare summer thunderstorms that rolls in out of nowhere. We had just finished watching a movie, and the power went out. I lit a few candles while Ryan grabbed a blanket, and we ended up sitting on the couch together, listening to the rain. He wrapped the blanket around us both, his arm casually resting along the back of the couch behind me. Our shoulders touched. Our legs brushed. The room was quiet except for the rain and the occasional thunder. He turned to look at me, and his expression was unreadable. "You okay?" he asked softly. I nodded, but I couldn't speak. My throat felt tight. "Mom," he said, his voice suddenly more serious. "You know you can talk to me about anything, right?" I forced a smile. "Of course, honey. I always have." He stared at me for a second longer, then turned his gaze back to the candles. That silence grew heavier. I wanted to say something, anything to lighten the mood, to stop the pounding in my chest. But nothing came. When the storm finally eased and the power came back, we both acted like nothing had happened. But something had shifted between us. I could feel it, and I think he could too. The days that followed were filled with an unspoken tension. We still laughed, still cooked, still shared our routines. But now we danced around moments that felt too close, too warm. I kept asking myself, what was I doing? Was I reading into things that weren't there? Or worse, was I the only one feeling this way? One evening, while folding laundry in the living room, I came across one of Ryan's college hoodies. I held it for a moment, breathing in the faint scent of his cologne. It brought tears to my eyes. Not because of anything inappropriate, but because I missed having someone to love, someone to care for me. I had spent so many years putting myself last, always being the mother, the provider, the strong one. And now, the loneliness was louder than ever. That weekend, I decided to go out. A friend had invited me to a small gathering, and I thought it would be a good distraction. Ryan noticed me getting dressed up and gave me a surprised smile. "You look amazing, Mom," he said, a little stunned. "Thanks, sweetie. Just something casual." His eyes lingered on me a bit longer than usual, and then he said something I'll never forget. "Whoever gets to take you out tonight is lucky." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about what he said. The gathering was fine, but I felt detached the whole time. I left early and came home to find Ryan still awake, watching TV. "Bad night?" he asked. I shrugged. It was okay. Just not really my scene. "Well, I'm glad you're home." I sat beside him on the couch, and he handed me a mug of tea. We sipped in silence for a bit before he leaned his head lightly against mine. It was a simple, sweet gesture, but it made my heart ache. Not because of confusion or guilt, but because of love. A deep, overwhelming love that had nowhere to go. I couldn't resist protecting Ryan from the world. I couldn't resist being close to him. But I knew where the line was. And more importantly, I knew what I needed to do. The next morning, I sat him down for a real conversation. I told him how much I loved him, how proud I was of him, and how much he meant to me. And I admitted that I had been lonely, too lonely. That I had placed all of my emotional needs on him without even realizing it. That it wasn't fair to either of us. He didn't say much at first. Just listened. Then he took my hand. "Mom, I've felt that too," he said gently. "And I'm glad you said something. Because I didn't know what to do either." We both cried a little that day. Not out of shame or regret, but because it felt like we had faced something hard together and come out stronger. We promised to focus on ourselves, to keep our boundaries healthy, and to open our hearts to the world again, not just to each other. Over time, things returned to normal. Ryan went back to school in the fall, and I started therapy and joined a book club. I even started dating again, carefully, slowly. And I encouraged Ryan to explore his own relationships, to live fully without the weight of my loneliness. Sometimes we still have those close moments, but now they're framed with understanding and clarity. He's my son, my heart. And while I may have lost myself for a moment in the fog of loneliness, I found my way back. And maybe, just maybe, sharing this will help someone else out there feel less alone too.